Ladies and gentlemen, in this video I wanted to give my overview on Diablo 4 and how I've been feeling about it so far. I wanted to give my thoughts as a new player in the Diablo series, and it has done a great job not only bringing me into the game, but keeping me here. So first off, my first experience in Diablo was Diablo 3. I played it for about 2-3 hours, but it didn't grab me like this game has. So I jumped on and I played through the game for about a couple hours and was like, alright, this isn't for me. But that being my first experience, moving on to today in Diablo 4, I feel like I played this game enough at this point to finally give a legit overview of my thoughts and impressions. So starting off with the thing that grabbed me right away, the main storyline had great bosses, brought you through the entire world, giving you a little taste of all the different environments, and for me personally it changed up very frequently. Went from a snowy area to a desert area. A lot of it does have that darker palette. I guess that's to be expected in a game like this. But overall, they gave us a variety of bosses to walk through. And right away, I was able to tell they had decent mechanics. And I'm a longtime World of Warcraft player, so walking into a dungeon and seeing these mechanics that you have to dodge definitely gave me a feeling of comfort and excitement, making me look forward to future bosses to come. Now, with that being said, all of the side quests as well gave you voice dialogue. I don't know about you, but I sat there for at least more than half the game not canceling any of these side quests dialogue. Like, I was just letting them talk, and halfway through I was like, you know what? I bet you I could skip this. But because the voice acting was so good, for each side quest, it kept me from wanting to cancel any of the dialogue and listen into the story that they had to give. And that's something really rare, and I don't really feel that often. I try to push to the end game right away, but this game kept me in a nice casual feel. The fact that everything has voice dialogue in it is fantastic. You remember in WoW how like you walk up to the quest giver and the guy's just like, hey, how you doing? And then you kind of read through the dialogue, you collect the quest, walk away, and he's like, catch you on the flip side, right? That's all you get every time. And I guess in World of Warcraft it would be a little bit different. Like, there's so many side quests in so many different areas. I don't care. That's not really my problem. The point is, these guys did give every side quest, every main quest, a full voice dialogue, and that meant the world and back to me. Moving on from that, the playable characters fit Diablo wonderfully. You don't have an overwhelming amount of characters. There's 4 or 5 of them that we have to play, which is great, giving you some nice variety of gameplay to work through. The armor cosmetics are absolutely beautiful. I have to say, there's not one worry about paying for cosmetics or anything like that. There is the option available, great, but you don't even need to take it. The natural selection of open world armor that we get in this game is beautiful. Like I said, I've been playing this game as a druid, and not once do I need to purchase any items or feel like all the most thematic sets are only acquirable through purchase. I love having the option to make your character look just as badass all through the in-game activities and not have to worry about going out to purchase any armor sets that make you look some type of way. 10 out of 10 on all of the armor for honestly all of the classes. Now, speaking about the armor, as I was upgrading and just playing through the game, again, it kept you in that casual mindset for a very long time where it was just like, hey, 500 armor? Great. I want the 600 armor. It just kept you chasing incremental armor upgrades while not diving into too much of the bonus and passive stats. However, this is where it starts to get a little bit deep, and you could choose to either ignore or go with the in-depth armor system that they have. So I started looking at all the cooldown reduction, damage reduction, damage increases, and then on top of those passive stats, I was then able to find out you have different roles on each of those stats, which allows you to chase gear even further. Now, the whole item power debacle, it's definitely a little bit of a funky situation you got going on. How you can upgrade sacred gear to ancestral item level quality. So I'm not even going to go too deep into that. But the bottom line here is you have plenty to chase. And honestly, it's a good time if you just look at it from its bare bones. And this leads me into finding out about aspects. Again, coming from WoW, when a legendary is on a piece of gear, it is that specific piece of gear. So you don't have a chance to change it or anything like that. The aspect system is a very addictive system, I must say. I love the fact that you're able to get the aspect, take it off of a specific item when you outgrow that item, and imprint it on your new and improved piece. That system that they have, first of all, drove me for a loop when I first got into the game, so I had to look it up, and that goes hand in hand with the talent system as well, but we'll get into that in a second. So the whole legendary system in Diablo 4, I don't even know if it was the same back then, but it's a very interesting and deep rabbit hole that I had to go through and learn about when starting to play this game a bit more serious. And just as the gear has different roles, you then find out, so does the legendaries. So now you're able to get duplicates of your legendaries, and now I know you want to save the stronger aspects for later on in the game in case you have a perfect row. Which again, in my mind, gave me a little bit of encouragement to keep pushing in the game, even to get the same aspect, but it's not like it's dead in the water as soon as you get it. If you get another duplicate, you now know, hey, I have an opening to still use this legendary freely and not have to worry about it disappearing because you know you have a better one still sitting in the bank. Speaking of the bank or the stash, it didn't hit me till about level 50 that this just isn't the way. I was running out of room so quick, and the fact that they have a system set up where you're able to get tons of different legendaries, but they can be duplicates, and some you don't want to use and some you can't delete because they're too powerful, but you don't want to delete the secondaries because you may swap back to a specific build using that. You're just running out of slots so quickly, and the fact that there's so many of them and they give you so little options to help sort or organize yourself in the stash and not even have enough slots in the stash as well was a little funky and still is. Now they did address this, so great. We don't know exactly when they're going to fix it yet, so to be determined. But the fact that they have such a great system here and then the stash is so lackluster is a little weird, but hopefully they'll fix it sooner than later. So this leads me into spells, skill points, and rebuilding your classes. So when I first seen this tree, I was totally blown away. I didn't know what to do. And let me know how many people thought the same thing. When I first got into this game, I was allocating points to this first cluster of nodes like nobody's business. I had like at least 3 spell slots filled up before I even got to this second part here, because I had no idea how to go about and properly build a character in Diablo. But it was a really good time. It was fun trying to find out, do you not need to focus on the first one because it's just a builder to use your stronger core abilities? So seeing all these potential skill points and branches right in front of you was kind of overwhelming in the beginning, but once you got the hang of it, you learned very quickly that you're pretty much safe to take one from each cluster. Obviously, depending on what build you're going to take, yada yada. But as I said, it was exciting to learn about and go through trying out all the different spells. Especially in the beginning of the game, they give you very little resistance to unlock specific skills and try out all of your abilities. And something that I felt was different from World of Warcraft was the fact that there are so many options, and playing as a druid, there's so many options for build potential with these characters. I was able to be a lightning god, a bear, a werewolf, all of these different things, and honestly, all of it is viable. And even now, more towards endgame, if you can call it that, I'm sitting in the 70s, again, World Tier 4 doing Nightmare Dungeons. I'm able to play werewolf builds, lightning storm builds, and they're clearing through level 20 and up dungeons. And that's amazing to me, because for the most part in WoW, and I don't know if it was just mentally how I ended up playing the game, but you just go to the build, pick what's the best, and roll with the meta. But in this game, for me personally, it's making me feel okay to not really look up specific builds until I hit a brick wall. I'm more encouraged to just peep out specific spells that I find interesting, use it, try it out, see if I like it. If not, no biggie, swap back. However, now when you're getting into the later game, it's definitely a bit more costly, which I wish wasn't the case, but I'm finding myself gathering so much gold while playing the game passively anyways. It's not such a big deal, but hopefully they chill out on the amount of gold it takes you to respec. Of course, I don't expect it to make it free. There should be some weight when choosing a specific build and why you shouldn't be swapping, but that was something that was addressed in the live stream recently about the cost and having even a specific button just to reset everything in one swoop, because that leads us to the Paragon board. And the Paragon board for me was again something that really spun my mind around, but is very easy once you get the hang of it, as you're pretty much stopping by and picking up whatever fits your build perfectly. But as a system that I've never seen before, this was a very nice change of pace, and I'm very happy that they have something like this in the game where you could pick and choose very minute points, and I feel like really fine-tune your specific build. So again, this really drove me for a loop, was definitely intimidating, but a little bit of research, and then once it becomes accessible to you, being able to fiddle around with it when you first get it, it really just looks more intimidating than what it really is. But for some reason, again, they have this wonderful system, kind of like the aspect system and the stash problem. They have this issue where it's like, why do I have to click every single one of these buttons to refund a node? And quick disclaimer, they did address this great. It should have been addressed. It should have been handled before the game came out, in my opinion. I think it's so funny how they literally expect you to have to click through every single node to place a refund. And in general, it takes me, I don't know, I could just be slow, but it takes me like at least a good few hours to rebuild a build, even without having to like click every single node and have to refund all of them. Definitely not the most fun experience, but it's something I can get over, and the fact that it was addressed by the devs shines a light on the whole situation. And really quick, going back to the aspects do so much to your character. Once you start getting a surplus amount and putting them on every piece of armor, you can really feel that spike of damage. And I think that was the hook. That moment was the main hook for me. When I was doing a werewolf build, I finally got a Grizzly Rage aspect that affected my werewolf build, and it spiked my damage output through the roof. That moment was something I remembered very vividly, and I was absolutely hooked. And I'm talking just one specific legendary. I got it by accident, have no idea what to do with it, was like, hey, this works with my build, let me put it on, and it changed my DPS, what I was able to accomplish, what felt difficult, what didn't. It changed the entire game by just slapping on that one piece. That was an awesome moment. So after completing the story, the Tree of Whispers unlocked, I felt like this was a great way to kind of get you going, but very quickly it became irrelevant, and the Nightmare Dungeon treadmill took hold. So what I was more or less trying to do with the Tree of Whispers is just complete a Nightmare Dungeon that lined up with the tree, so I can kind of complete multiple things at one time. So I would look at the tree, I'd look at my Nightmare Dungeon, I'd see what dungeons I would need to complete the Renown, and it kind of just circled around like that, which felt really good. So the Tree of Whispers for me kind of dwindled out of any sort of importance very quickly. And like I said, I kind of just look at that as a secondary option of gearing. And then once I started walking into tier 4, I felt like it was a nice gradual increase because I was able to stop doing Nightmare Dungeons. I can go back to regular plain content and continue to get ancestral gear to bump my character up to get back to those 22s to 25s. And once I started clearing that, I knew I was good. And this leaves me off to where I'm a bit scared of the end game, because the Nightmare Dungeons as of right now are an absolute blast. I'm having fun, I'm playing with builds, but that's it. Why does that feel like that's it? I want to go kill Uber Lilith, awesome. I want to make my character great, cool, and I love the dungeons, that's fantastic. But I feel like that's the main thing that's holding me on, are those dungeons. And I'm telling you right now, if I start getting bored of these dungeons, I feel like there's nothing left, which isn't so great. I don't know, in WoW, I kind of like geared my character through Mythic Plus and things like that, so I can go raid to get better gear, or to go PvP. I don't know, like it was like more of an endgame activity for me to do. I hope that Nightmare Dungeons just isn't the end all be all. I could see how some people would say once you do a handful of the dungeons, they all start feeling the same. I get that. The bosses are a good time. They have some variety in the dungeons themselves, but I feel like that's not going to be enough to hold me on for an extensive period of time. Like I said, right now as a newer player, I'm enjoying the shit out of the Nightmare Dungeons, and I can see myself playing them for a very long time to come. But that can't be it, right? Let me know how you guys feel down in the comments about that being the end game. I mean, I could see myself doing that for a few months, and then yeah, I just would re-roll to another character and make a shit ton of builds. Thank God that's my thing, where I just love making thematic builds. I have a blast with it. But I do thoroughly enjoy this game, and I hope that the Nightmare Dungeons aren't the end-all be-all for the end game of Diablo 4. I really hope they add something. And like I said, let me know if you guys feel the same way, feel different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing something. But since the season's coming, I am looking forward to that. This is going to be my first season, the season of Malignant. I'm really excited for that with the Caged Hearts. It's going to give us some more build variety, gems that are essentially more aspects and legendaries, so should be a really good time. Hopefully they fix the stash. Hopefully they give me a button that I could press to reset my whole character when I wish to do so. I think that would be wonderful. And let me know down in the comments about how you guys feel. And are you still enjoying this game? Because I feel like it is fresh and kicking. I feel like it's bringing a lot of new players in. I feel like it's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. They definitely need to do something with the end game. But with that being said, thanks so much for chilling out. Hit the like button if you'd like, subscribe if you feel like it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.